Nobody warns you that the most dangerous relationships in your life might not be with another person. Sometimes the most toxic thing holding you back is something you created yourself, something you feed every single day, something you run back to every time life gets hard. At 22 years old, he finally understood that, and it changed everything. His name was Ethan, 22 years old, living alone in a small apartment that smelled like instant noodles and stale air. From the outside, his life looked fine. No major disasters. No dramatic failures. Just a quiet, slow, invisible kind of falling apart. Every morning, before his eyes were even fully open, his hand was already reaching for his phone. Not because he was excited. Not because something important was waiting. Just because he didn't know how to face the morning without something to drown in. Scroll, tap, watch, repeat. An hour would pass, sometimes two. And then he'd lie there, feeling emptier than when he woke up, wondering where the morning went. He had plans. Real ones. He wanted to build something, learn something, become someone. But the plans always stayed plans. They lived in a notes app he barely opened and in the back of his mind where they slowly collected dust. There's a specific kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with sleep. It's the tiredness of someone who's been running from themselves for too long. That was Ethan, exhausted not by effort, but by avoidance. It was a Tuesday night when something shifted. He was 3 hours deep into gaming, the same game he'd played every night for 6 months. When he paused and looked at the clock. 2:47 a.m. He had a shift at 8, and yet he felt no urgency. No guilt, just a hollow kind of comfort that felt exactly like nothing. That hollow comfort, he knew it well. It was the same feeling he got from doom scrolling, from skipping the gym, from telling himself he'd start tomorrow, from checking his follower count after every post, desperately searching for proof that he mattered. And in that moment, sitting in the blue glow of his screen at 3 a.m., a thought hit him so clearly it almost felt physical. He was in a relationship, not with a person, but with his worst habits. And it was the most toxic relationship he'd ever been in. He thought about it, really thought about it. Toxic relationships make you feel good in the short term and destroy you in the long run. They isolate you. They drain your energy. They make you feel like you can't live without them. They give you just enough comfort to keep you coming back, while slowly dismantling everything you could have been. That was exactly what his habits were doing to him. Every hour lost to mindless scrolling was an hour stolen from his future self. Every night he stayed up until 3 a.m. was a morning that started in defeat. Every time he reached for distraction instead of discipline, he was choosing the habit over himself. He had been giving his best hours, his most alive hours, to things that gave him absolutely nothing in return. He got up, walked to the bathroom, looked at himself in the mirror under that harsh, unflattering light that bathrooms always have at 3 a.m., and he asked himself a question he had been avoiding for years. If you keep living exactly like this, where will you be at 30? The answer came quickly, and it terrified him. Not because the future was hopeless, but because he could see it so clearly. The same apartment, the same emptiness, just older, just more regret stacked on top of regret. He thought about the people he looked up to, the ones who seemed to have something he didn't. And he realized it wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it was just discipline. The quiet, unglamorous, daily decision to choose discomfort over distraction. To do the hard thing when every instinct screamed for escape. He had been waiting for motivation, waiting to feel ready, waiting for life to hand him a reason to change. But standing in that bathroom at 3 a.m., he finally understood something painful and liberating at the same time. Motivation doesn't come before the work. It comes because of it. You don't wait to feel ready. You build readiness by moving. That night, Ethan didn't make a loud declaration. He didn't post about it. He didn't make a vision board or buy a new journal. He just sat down on the edge of his bed, in the quiet, and made a private decision. That night, Ethan didn't make a loud declaration. He didn't post about it. He didn't make a vision board or buy a new journal. He just sat down on the edge of his bed, in the quiet, and made a private decision. He was done. He was filing for divorce from the habits that had been quietly destroying him. Not dramatically, not perfectly, just firmly. The way you finally end something you know is wrong. Not with fireworks, but with tired, clear-eyed honesty. He put his phone on the other side of the room that night. He set an alarm for 7 a.m. He closed his eyes. And for the first time in a long time, the silence didn't feel like something to escape. It felt like something to rest in. The next few weeks were not cinematic. There was no training montage. No sudden surge of energy. No magical morning where everything clicked into place. There was just the grinding, uncomfortable reality of trying to unlearn years of deeply grooved behavior. He'd reach for his phone out of habit and catch himself. He'd sit down to work and feel the pull of distraction like a physical ache. Some days he gave in. Some days he didn't. But every day he tried again. There's something no one tells you about breaking habits. The craving doesn't go away immediately. It gets louder before it gets quieter. Your mind fights you. It tells you that you deserve a break, that one more hour won't matter, that you're being too hard on yourself. But Ethan had learned to recognize that voice. It wasn't self-compassion. It was the habit fighting for its life. So he kept going. He started sleeping by midnight, then 11:30, then 11. He replaced the first hour of scrolling with 20 minutes of reading. Not because it felt good at first, it didn't, but because he kept his promise to himself. And every kept promise built something inside him that no scroll could ever give him. It built self-respect. A month passed, then two. The apartment started looking different, not because he renovated anything, but because he was in it differently. He was present now. The curtains were open. There was a book on the table instead of a controller. A glass of water on the desk instead of an energy drink at midnight. Small things, invisible to anyone else, but enormous to him. He started waking up and feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Not excitement, not yet, but possibility. That quiet, early morning sense that the day is yours and you haven't wasted it yet. He began to understand what discipline actually is. It's not punishment. It's not restriction. It's the ultimate act of self-love. It's telling yourself, I believe in my future enough to protect it today. And slowly, without fanfare, without a single viral post about his journey, Ethan began to build the life he had always imagined from the inside out. Not because he was special, not because he had some secret, but because he finally stopped being loyal to his excuses. If you're 22, or 30, or 45, and you recognize something of yourself in Ethan's story, then you already have the most important thing, awareness. You can see the habit, and the moment you can see it clearly, you are no longer completely inside it. The toxic habits in your life are not stronger than you. They are just older than your decision to leave them. And like any relationship worth ending, the hardest part is not the leaving. It's the moment before when you finally admit the truth to yourself. Your habits are shaping your future right now. Every hour, every choice, every time you pick comfort over growth, you are casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Ethan didn't become perfect. He became intentional, and that made all the difference. You don't have to divorce your habits dramatically. You just have to stop renewing the vows, one quiet decision at a time.